là. Moi, je pense que si nous cherchons à découvrir propre spiritualité par nous, premièrement, nous avons besoin de discipliner tête nous, discipliner la vie nous. Tant que agronomie l'autre monde t'a dit, là où lever le matin, ou regarder est-ce que le téléphone est chargé, mais regardez où est-ce que vous connectez avec mon Dieu. Regardez où est-ce que vous connectez avec mon Dieu et comment connexion ça y est. Même je regarde où est-ce que le téléphone est chargé, s'il pas bien chargé, ou pas assurer en vont sortir dans la rue pour lui charger, pour lui pas déconnecter. Et si vous pas bien 4, vous cherchez, mettez 4 sous téléphone, de quoi l'on dans la rue pour assurer que le téléphone est capable de servir tout bon. C'est même genre tout pour reconnaître que ou pas on l'aura écalé sous terre. Par contre, si tu as dit pas regarder ça. Ou pas on l'aura écalé sous terre. Ouais, c'est ou sortir dans bon Dieu. Bon Dieu a un plan pour vous, bon Dieu a une mission pour vous. On n'essaie pas de goumer avec bon Dieu. On fait bon Dieu confiance. Tant que nous tous qui là, nous connaissons, c'est cause paysan qui invite nous là. Pour qui ça nous besoin de goumer entre nous? Ça nous cherche, c'est pour paysans au bout gagner la bataille. C'est pour les paysans gagner la victoire. Ça veut dire qu'on équipe football dans nous avons dit hier. Ça veut dire qu'on a joué pour la souterrain ensemble. Terrain a une pile difficulté là-dedans. Moi-même comme père, j'ai une relation avec un pile paroisse, un pile père, un pile religieux. Ça veut dire que nous dit le bâton non mais c'est avec lui ou par les coups. Ouais, ça veut dire que il y a un réseau paroisse et aux États-Unis. Nous cherchons à rentrer dans le réseau ça, tant que l'État dit tout à l'heure. Moi-même, j'ai une faiblesse, moi, je fais contact là, même pas capable de continuer à faire suivi. J'ai toujours besoin de monde qui peut faire suivi. Et c'est dans ce sens, je fais lire avec un pile compliment, parce que si bagay ça aucun là toujours, c'est grâce à eux-mêmes. En pile paroisse aux États-Unis, en pile l'église, même communauté musulmane, même communauté juive, ils ont campé avec nous dans tout le travail qu'on a fait. Ouais. Alors, c'est grâce. Là, nous avons commencé à faire causer ici, M. Alexandre va parler sur ça tout à l'heure. Pas de banque dans la section communale ou bien en dehors de Port-au-Prince, c'est rarement de quelques banques. Nous servons avec réseau paroissiaux pour nous joindre une culture de base nous besoin pour faire causer capable de l'école. Pour nous être capable de gagner un réseau au moins qui gagne 350 paroisses aux États-Unis qui gagne l'autre paroisse ici seul. Ça veut dire que pendant nous-mêmes, nous avons motivé nos États-Unis, nous avons motivé mon ici, et puis nous mettons deux nous ne faisons l'autre tout, nous avons encouragé l'autre pour participer dans le travail. On va faire causer à mettre un bureau dans une zone. Premier monde nous rencontrer, c'est qu'on a une structure là. Ouais, père qui déjà dans la zone, dans le travail, il vient plusieurs années depuis là, dans le côté. Pour nous demander comment l'État fait ça, comment l'État est capable d'aider nous. Laisse ça, il ouvre le porte-caille, il va nous rentrer. Et nous-mêmes nous servir avec la structure ouais, pour être capable d'aider nous faire travailler ça. Alors, tout le monde nous connaît que nous sommes capables d'aller dans la toilette, les nous voulons, mais songez, c'est en dedans là, il y a besoin de nous. Ce n'est pas de l'euro pour aller blague avec Zan. Et plus vous êtes en dedans, et quand nous avons besoin, les ça, est capable là. Alors, en gros, paroisse dans le pays d'Haïti, l'église, yo vraiment aidé nous en pile, dans toute institution. Alors, qu'on y a invité sous Carlson pour faire un petit parler de Parish Training Programme, où les gens ont même bénéficié de l'assistance à travers le travail qu'on fait, et puis en même temps, tout, comment on est et Haiti Parish Training Programme, qui résultat ou pensez l'IBAI dans le travail qu'on fait en Haïti. So, would you come and share with us? Alors, nous invitons Madame Dr. Carlson, lui-même tout, il y a une connexion et dans la question réseau, paroissial et jumelage. Là, faire un petit partage avec nous sur ça.
So, I got involved with working in Haiti through our church, which is Our Lady Queen of Peace in Arlington, Virginia. And our church has been twinned with a church in rural Haiti in Major, St. Joseph Parish, since 1997. So the background about the parish twinning program is 40 years ago, a woman, Teresa Patterson, who lives in Nashville, went for her first time to Haiti and decided that she wanted to try to find something that she could do to be helpful to Haiti. So she went to her church in Nashville and asked them to twin with a church in Haiti. And that relationship was very fruitful. And she thought, well, if my church can do it, other churches in the United States can do it as well. So in the last 40 years, that one relationship has grown from one to now about 350 churches in the United States, twinned with parishes mainly in Haiti, but also in the Philippines and in South America. So when our church first became involved in 1997, there were like 200 kids in the primary school. There was no lunch. Anyway, so since we've been twinned with St. Joseph Parish in those 21 years, the school enrollment has, Imador, sorry. Since we've been twinned, the school enrollment has gone up from about 200 to now 3,000 children in school. Each of the children get a school lunch. We're working on a clean water program. We planted almost 700,000 trees over the 74 square miles. We've given funds to build latrines. But the most important thing really in those 21 years of working together is the solidarity, the relationship building between our church in Virginia and the church in Medor. We've been really excited for Our Lady Queen of Peace and St. Joseph Parish in Medor to work with Raising Haiti Foundation, and our church is supporting one of the 6 communities in the Three Lakes pilot project, so that Medor has 4 students studying at the University of Fondois, and also has a local development committee, and also is participating in the Business Incubator Challenge. What we would like to see is many more United States parishes do what Our Lady Queen of Peace is doing and help with the Three Legs program, so that APF and the university can help with the development in those Haitian parishes with support, financial support from the US parishes. So there was a big conference in Nashville in August where many of the churches from the United States that are twinned with Haitian parishes came to this conference. And so we talked to the people there about perhaps considering working through Raising Haiti Foundation, APF, and the university to help their parishes be able to increase their development. So we haven't gotten many nibbles yet, but we're hoping that we planted some seeds and that those seeds will grow in the future.
Thank you, Madame. Papa, bon Dieu, pays nous c'est pour le nous venez de me chanter, c'est où t'es fait la vie nous a. Dirigez-nous par nos protections. Papa, bon Dieu, pays nous c'est pour. C'est où t'es fait la vie nous l'amène. Dirigez-nous par nos protections. J'ai avancé, et comptez-nous aller. Votre esprit. En ça, la partie royaume. Papa, mon Dieu, vie, nous c'est où t'es fait la vie, nous n'avons. Dirigez-nous par nos convictions. Merci, nous pourrons prendre trois mots encore, et puis après ça, on a fini. Nous allons parler nous sur comment juifs, protestants, se mettent ensemble et reconstruire l'école fondoire. Et puis après ça, on a invité Reverend Tammy, qui est un méthodiste, pasteur, qui fait jumelage tout avec APF pour lui venir faire un petit parler, comment ils vivent l'expérience ça. Dernier monde qui va parler, c'est M. Alexandre, comment font causer travail bien avec l'église dans le pays d'Haïti. Après le tremblement de terre, nous connaissons le tremblement de terre qui a détruit tout ça, APF, qui a gagné dans le fond droit. Ouais, ni l'école, ni clinique, ni station radio, ni université, et puis mais au petit couvent, au petit caillou, et nous avons un mec qui est mort dans l'occasion ça, avec un petit bébé dans le bras, pendant qu'il a fait effort pour la sauver petit bébé. Mais malheureusement, force tremblement de terre était plus fort parce et il est mort avec petit bébé dans le C'était Odile Gabus, et puis petit bébé, il a 2 ans, c'est Jude Duby. Alors, après le tremblement de terre, il y a un pile groupe qui t'a parlé sous possibilité pour aider nous reconstruire quelques bagages qui étaient écrasés dans le fond droit. C'est comme ça, nous connaissons après le tremblement de terre, toute construction vient picher parce que c'était j'en ai avant. Vous avez besoin d'assurer ou mettre base pour être capable de résister contre le tremblement de terre et puis pour être capable de résister contre gros cyclone. C'est comme ça, après un pile parler, discussion à droite à gauche, présenter projet à droite à gauche, nous n'avons pas aucun monde qui parlait pour aider nous parce que pour reconstruire l'école là, il a coûté 1,2 million. Il y a un groupe juif qui est le JDC. Ils ont dit, bon, moi, je prends le vent. Nous prenons le bail et nous voulons pour construire l'école là, au moins construire moitié dans l'école là. Nous-mêmes, nous connaissons pour construire moitié dans l'école là, nous avons besoin de $600,000. Nous-mêmes, nous pas gagné $600,000, mais nous mettons $300,000 sur table là. Et avant nous débourser $300,000 par nous, nous avons besoin de joindre l'autre groupe qui va être $300,000. Ouais, pour construction, ça capable et fait. C'est comme ça, on a parlé, gagné un groupe, c'est presbytérien, protestant, et à travers Family Health, il dit qu'on a mis 100 000. Et puis c'est comme ça, tout, il y a un autre groupe qui est les Partners in Progress, il dit qu'on a mis 100 000. Et puis, au dernier moment, il y a un fonds causé qui dit qu'on a mis 100 000. Je pense que c'est lui qui nous gère comme ça. Je ne sais pas si vous voulez dire, c'est ça? Do you want to say anything about the school construction as a joint effort to help Haiti to rebuild?
Yes, that was a great experience. Several organizations coming together to accomplish a project, a construction project. So as Father Joseph said, we had the Jewish Development Committee, 300,000, and then Juan Jose put up 100,000. Partners in Progress out of Pittsburgh put up 100,000. Family Health Ministries out of North Carolina put up 100,000. So we had the funds to complete phase 1 and open the bank account together at Juan Jose. And it worked really well. We would send some money for the first, bit of activity, and then APF would do a really great report on how all that money was spent, and then we'd send the next tranche of funds. And I don't know how many of you have seen the beautiful school, but we all did it together, and it's a nice facility, and it's earthquake proof.
Thank you. Bravo pour lui, merci. Alors, tant que nous sommes là, ensemble, il y a un pile belle bagaille. C'est ça, il n'est pas bon pour nous faire un petit corps sous tête nous, pour nous penser que nous n'avons pas besoin de mélanger avec l'autre. Nous avons invité Reverend Tammy pour partager avec nous Et comme méthodiste, qui j'en ouais collaboration avec APF, tout l'effort nous été fait pour FUMCOG, First United State et Methodist Church, ou pour lutter une relation avec APF pendant plusieurs années. Would you come and share with us how have you experienced that?
Bonsoir tout le monde. Moi content de bonne nouvelle sur bel travail qu'on fait ici là en Haïti. I am a pastor at FUMCOG, First United Methodist Church of Germantown, and I came to FUMCOG just over a year ago. And what brought me to FUMCOG is this. As I told you last night, 3 years ago, I received a passion and a call to Haiti. And FUMCOG has been twinned with Fondwa since 1984. So I joined a community who is dedicated to the work here in Haiti. And for me, that was the primary reason why I joined FUMCOG. And when I arrived, I met a community of people that have spent the last 25 years building a relationship and working through a vision that is driven by Haitian people. And for that reason, that is the place that I wanted to be, because the work is not a work that comes from my community. It is a work that comes from the people here in Haiti, and it is driven by a vision that is transforming not just Haiti, but it transforms our community. I heard a quote that said that if you want to come help me, don't bother. But if you want to come and be transformed with me together, then let's work together. And that's the vision that we have at FUMCOG, is how we together can be transformed. And I think that's one of the most powerful experiences that I've had working at FUMCOG, and now having experienced the work here with Father Joseph. So when I arrived a year ago, we're talking about a community of people who have been doing this for 25 years. And they all looked at me like, oh, good. You're going to create the next delegation, right? Because they had been doing it for so long, it felt so empowering to have somebody else come in. So we had not, our church hadn't come to Fondwa for 5 years. And so one of my first jobs was to create a delegation and reinstitute the relationship that we've had here. And what was really powerful was when we sent out the request for the delegation, there were youth that hadn't come to our church for 2 or 3 years. They'd gotten busy, right? But they came back because at FUMCOG, it was the moment in somebody's life to actually be able to come and visit and go to Fondwa. So this summer, we brought 5 youth with us, and they said, this is it. This is what we've been waiting to do. And that's the spirit of how we transform lives, when we build relationships and maintain them and continue to grow and serve together. Thank you.
Thank you. Merci, Reverend Tammy. Moi, pense tant que lui fait Noël, moi, je vais le dire en anglais. While we are working to transform the lives of the poor, we are transformed. It's the transformers being transformed. Ou avec des gens pauvres, ou même ou que les gens pauvres a aidé, il y a l'ouvrier, il y a faut reconnaître que c'est mounouillé, même j'ai avec eux. Ou pas t'as droit ou même pour n'importe leur besoin manger, ou manger, il y a même chaudière, il n'y a pas capable de monter pendant la journée. Pour le faut reconnaître que si vous avez petit, même j'ai avec petit payo, c'est pas petit Paul seulement qui t'a doué à l'école, petit payo pas capable d'aller à l'école. Pour le faut songer ou même pour gagner assurance santé, pour capable aller n'importe quel hôpital ouvert, yo même les malades, c'est mourir ou mourir à traîner à terre à coucher. Le travail avec moun pauvre yo faire prendre conscience que c'est mounouillé. Et comme moun c'est passé ou passer sur terre. Pas de moun qu'on dit là en bon créole, qui vient faire matière salée sur terre. Par contre, c'est un petit ça. Par exemple, qui vient faire matière salée sur terre. C'est passé, n'a passé. Ça, on est capable de faire qui bien, qui bon, qui belle, faire joli à même. Et pour nous-mêmes qui dans l'institution, nous, l'important tout, pour nous pas quitter l'institution, nous mettez aucun vieux règlement qui empêche nous de développer comme monde et pour nous participer dans ça qui bon, dans ça qui belle. Parce qu'il y a un pile d'institutions, il y a l'esprit étroit, il y a selfish, self-centered, il n'y a pas ouais l'autre. Nous devons l'ouvrir pour nous-mêmes être capables ouais, c'est dans la même direction nous pouvons aller. Et si nous pouvons aller dans la même direction, qui c'est qui est capable d'empêcher nous avancer ensemble? Alors, M. Alexandre, nous avons invité pour parler qui gens font causer, collaborer avec toute l'église dans le pays d'Haïti.
Merci, Père Joseph. J'aimerais te parler tout à l'heure pour moi qui fait venir M. Alexandre, c'est responsable de pour faire causer. Alors, je nous connais, Père Joseph t'a créé pour causer. Il est sur route, nous devons obligés de créer des institutions. Pour qui ça? Parce que font causer, c'est Fondation pour les épaules. Et puis, nous venons créer SFF en 1994, qui est Service financier pour causer. Et ainsi de suite, ouais, nous venons créer pour causer, ouais, c'est famille. Même Jean-Ouel lit sur ta petite côté que, excusez, faut causer 94, SFF en 2002, quoi. Non, faut causer 94, 2004. Sorry, merci de vous OK. Et même Jean-Ouel lit sur ta petite côté qui pris encore l'église aux États-Unis pour venir en Haïti, mais nous-mêmes, là, on est venus en Haïti ensemble avec comme ça, nous travaillons ensemble avec eux, pas mon petit. Mais ça nous fait ensemble avec Père, c'est que même Père, nous convoyons corps pour eux tout sortir aux États-Unis. Nous avons créé une relation avec City National Bank pour être capable de transférer comme ça pour nous. Et là, on est venu ici avec lui, nous-mêmes, nous avons créé un service qui est un service mobile. Côté que Père, il met côté le client, nous allons côté comme la bali, la caille, et service ça, bon, je me dis un peu. Mais au fil du temps, moi-même, c'est un monde qui ouvre presque toute branche, font causer à peu près 40 ans. Tout côté noir, dans la communauté, premier monde nous rencontrer, c'est Père, c'est pasteur, c'est l'église en général nous rencontrer, croyants. Et puis après ça, nous travaillons ensemble avec eux pour venir ouvrir, faut causer dans la zone côté qui donc nous établissons une relation depuis la première pierre, depuis notre base côté nous allons ouvrir dans la zone là. Et jusqu'à aujourd'hui, nous sommes capables de relation ça, il est toujours kembe parce que période toujours utiliser le service. Malgré qu'il y ait des difficultés, nous connaissons, faut causer au point de vue légal, il faut voter loi, mais nous ne pouvons pas mettre chèque. Mais il y a des pères qui ont toujours besoin de service chèque, donc ça est obligé d'utiliser l'autre institution financière, je dis. Mais il y a toujours été, après, il y a tout un petit canal à Caillot qui n'a pas causé. Et pour aujourd'hui, là, nous sommes capables de dire environ 5 millions de gouttes que vous gagnez dans le compte gouttes et vous gagnez à peu près $700,000 américains. Si nous prenons tout compte l'église et l'école presbytérale, tout ça, c'est ça qui est représenté dans le système pour le journée aujourd'hui. Et nous gagnons à peu près 700 potes environ qui va être montant ça. Mais le service là est toujours kembe, nous toujours gagner une bonne relation avec Père, avec l'église. Là, nous venons nous recevoir autant comme si nous avons VA, ça veut dire passer dans le guichet express, le chita dans le bureau directeur. Et il y a un gros bagage qu'on continue à faire pour nous-mêmes. C'est, Jean-Luc a parlé, c'est centre. Centre de crédit, c'est eux-mêmes qui moteur font causer juste je ne sais pas. Ça veut dire, là nous arrivons côté période, il y a toujours nous, soit espace d'église là, soit espace d'école là pour nous réunir ensemble avec nous. Et vous connaissez, dans compte, c'est eux-mêmes qui ont une spiritualité. Tout ça faut causer avant de commencer, ils fait la prière. Et mon l'église, c'est dans tout ça que je ai possibilité pour bénéficier des produits que nous avons offert. Alors, en gros, c'est ça. Relation nous ensemble avec l'église est toujours kembe et nous prenons ça et nous continuons à travailler ensemble avec les religieux.
Merci, Ampil. Et côté qui laisse nous venir de nous chanter encore. Et Kathleen venait de nous chanter, nous allons chanter Papa bon Dieu, pays nous secours, avant de continuer. Papa, bon Dieu, pays nous c'est où que fait la vie nous l'envoie. Dirige-nous, fais-nous protection. Papa, mon Dieu, pays nous c'est où que fait la vie nous l'envoie. Dirige-nous, fais-nous protection comme Papa, pour chercher à avancer. Fais-nous écouter pour la vie. Tant pis, donne-lui l'esprit. Construire la bâtie royaume. Papa, mon Dieu, et nous c'est où de paix la vie nous l'emmène. Dirige-nous par nos protections. Merci, bravo pour animatrice et animateur. Alors, en gros, nous avons cherché spiritualité par nous chaque qui là. Qui ça qui est bien ou fait bien sur terre? Parce qu'on a une pile opportunité devant quand on est capable de faire ça qui mal. Quand on est capable de tourner un gros criminel, un gros bandit, un gros malfaiteur, un gros loup-garou. Mais côté, je dis, on a un espace pour découvrir que vous sortez dans bon Dieu est Léo, bon Dieu confié aux mission. Et travail ça, ou déjà commencé, ça qui est capable d'empêcher de continuer. Alors c'est ça, je dis, pendant 2 jours, ça, on a fait ensemble. Pour nous reconnaître côté nous sortis, je dis nous, depuis le commencement, parole là, t'es là, parole là, c'était bon Dieu était toujours avec nous. C'est une occasion, FJN, présentez-nous, pour nous capables de découvrir côté nous sortis, bien loin, côté nous passer, tout problème, toute misère, toute difficulté. On a parlé de fonds causés aujourd'hui. Il y a un employé qui vient travailler, il vient faire tout le travail, et puis ouais, 20 personnes habillées en police, 10 rentrés dans le bureau, et puis 10 restent dehors. Ils prennent un jeune garçon qui a 27 ans, ils kidnappent. Ça te fait nous penser que fonds causés, ils mourent. Fonds causés, crasés, fonds causés, pas capable de continuer encore. Ça qui est pire pour nous, c'est là nous joignent jeune garçon ça qui mourit. Nous joignent non seulement le touyer, le pété dégelé, le cassé dans le coché dans toute la vie. C'est un message de vous et nous, il dit nous a fait font causer à enterrer. C'est même gens qui pensaient que nous avons enterré FJN dans le dia. Eh bien nous trompons-nous. Parce que cause nous, c'est cause moun qui vivent dans la section communale. Nous avons filé tout droit. Nous pas camper. Moun qui veut avancer avec nous, nous bien contents. Mais moun qui pas veut avancer avec nous, nous mettre derrière. Nous avancé sans nous. Parce que le travail n'a fait, c'est mission pas nous. Nous sentis bon Dieu bon nous. Ouais, nous créer APF, nous créer Fonds Causé, nous créer Tisseur, nous créer l'Université de droit, nous réaliser une seule institution pour contre lui, il n'est pas capable de résoudre le problème pays d'Haïti. Ça veut dire nous aborder le problème de 4 façons. Pour nous là, nous avons nous 1000 millions, pour nous gagner 1 million de façons, nous aborder le problème là. Pour nous assurer que pauvre gagne, pauvre reporter la victoire. Nous avons chanté avec pauvre faire ouvrir. Chantez nous nouvelle qui connaît. Bon Dieu fait un rêve qui est intéressant. Bon Dieu les pour y aller tout partout, pour les justice, pour les pour les batailles, pour la société. Bon Dieu fait un rêve qui est intéressant. Bon Dieu les pour y aller tout partout, pour les justice, pour les batailles.
société. C'est pareil, c'est pareil, c'est organisé. Autour de nous, on fait un rêve. Il est intéressant, on fait vous y êtes tout partout, vous mettez justice, vous mettez le main, vous mettez bataille dans la société. Vous y êtes tout partout, vous mettez justice, vous mettez la main, vous mettez bataille dans la société.
Merci, bravo pour nous. Alors, nous, ouais, une technique, nous fait travail là tout, c'est reconnaître talent, bon l'esprit qui gagne dans l'autre qui va côté ou là. Depuis où jouez un monde qui gagne même l'esprit, qui voulait faire travail là, qui fait espace pour lui grandir. Nous, ouais, moi-même, moi, pas qu'on chanter, moi, connais pas qu'on chanter, mais moi, connais tout, moi, chanter. Nous commençons à chanter, hein, mais moi, même qui est capable de chanter, puis je la scène, nous allons comme, bah, yo, chanter. Quand il y a là tout pour moi-même, c'est un cafou ça mieux. Après tout le travail ça on te fait, ouais, mettez chaque bagaille ou un petit coin, quand il y a là nous besoin mettre ensemble pour yon capable de travailler avec l'autre. Et puis moi-même moi reconnaître ces 2 jours m'a fait sur terre. Moi ouais ça moi fait déjà yo, ça me participer là-dedans yo. Et en plus bagaille a dit c'est moi qui fait yo, c'est nous-mêmes qui fait yo. Ouais, nous faisons ensemble avec moi. Et tant que nous sommes allés à nous bâtir l'école là qui était écrasée pendant le tremblement de terre, nous reconstruire l'école là, moi-même, pas mettre 5 copes dans la poche. C'est juifs, protestants, qui mettaient ensemble. Nous disons d'ici, il y a un Hatou qui était joué comme intermédiaire. Et puis, il y a un PIP, Partners in Progress. Et puis, Family Health qui mettaient ensemble. Mais depuis 2013, pour le bâtir l'école là fini. Jusqu'à présent, oui, nous avons cherché l'autre monde qui est bon cœur. Ça veut dire que le travail pour faire en Haïti, ou besoin de corps. Ou besoin de corps. Nous ne sommes pas capables de faire la charité, continuer à faire la charité. Nous avons besoin de monde qui est capable d'investir dans le monde, qui est capable d'investir bon corps pour notre travail avec pauvres. Et nous avons besoin de suspendre faire pauvres pour toujours un coup dans les mains. Il y a demandé, il y a tout le monde qui fait pour eux. Nous avons besoin pour pauvres eux-mêmes, de lever tête. Pour nous prendre une deuxième partie de notre travail, c'est ça, nous les Twilex, et nous-mêmes en Haïti, nous plus dit LDC. Mais il y a un champion dans la ça, c'est M. David Hoffman. Ouais, mais nous allons écouter l'histoire tout le monde. Okay. Yeah. Et nous gagnons un pile monde qui travaille dans ça, nous les KDL. Comité de développement local. En anglais, c'est Local Development Committee. Nous bien contents de gagner KDL Tomaso qui l'a, KDL Fondroit qui l'a ensemble avec Kazek Fondroit. Et puis, David lui-même, il choisit investir dans KDL. David a un petit malaise, il a même parler tout de suite parce qu'il a besoin de parler. Pour quelle raison lui-même il choisit investir dans KDL pour faciliter, nous permettre de parler tout de suite. Et puis après ça, on a fait l'autre bagaille. David, it's your turn if you want to share with us. Why have you picked up the 3 legs as your champion, the LDC as your champion, and you want to invest with that, and you want everybody else to follow you in this initiative? Please come.
First of all, I'm hoping that I don't need that microphone. Do I need it?
Yeah,
I do need it?
do
I need it? Yes? Okay, that's good.
you want to speak or?
You know what I'd also like to do? I mean, it's been long and there hasn't even been a break. Could everybody just stand up for a moment and stretch and just, shake out whatever?
Okay. We are at the gym.
That's right.
We don't need to stand up for.
You can sit down, yeah. That wasn't a plea for anything other than what it was. Okay. You know, I'm delighted to be here. This is my first time. This is my first retreat, and it's wonderful. You know, I remember from the very first meeting I attended, which just happened to be at the premiere film screening of the documentary Father Joseph. That happened to be, these things happen within a 20-minute drive of where we live in southern Florida. Of course, being a very close friend of the filmmaker Jeff Kaufman, he asked me to come. And then I was asked to attend a sort of ad hoc meeting the following morning with members of the APF Haiti and USA Foundation, folks from the university, all happened to be there. And of course, I was an observer. It's always difficult. From the time I was very young, I received check marks in self-control. So that's always been one of my challenges, but I couldn't really control myself. I wanted to share some thoughts, and I had an opportunity to do that. And it's interesting, the overarching feeling that I had, that I shared, was how wonderful it would be if the various parts of this vision could come together in a way that left everyone free to express their part, and at the same time where we were aware of each other and where we were, you know, where we realized, because there's strength in unity. And in fact, I love the fact that some of the conversation here has been about really focusing on our relationship with God. I happen to be a Baha'i. It is an independent world religion, and I'd like to, in the spirit of what I've heard, I'd like to just share a prayer to inspire myself, hopefully. Oh my God, unite the hearts of thy servants and reveal to them thy great purpose. May they follow thy commandments and abide in thy law. Help them, O God, in their endeavor, and grant them strength to serve thee. O God, leave them not to themselves, but guide their steps by the light of thy knowledge, and cheer their hearts by thy love. Verily, thou art their helper and their Lord. That's a prayer from the writings of the Baha'i Faith. So, needless to say, my first visit to Haiti, which was a reconnaissance visit for Jeff Kaufman, who called me and said, "Hey, David, we had just done a documentary together for a campaign, a human rights campaign that I founded in conjunction with Amnesty International." And he said, "Listen, I'd really like you to come and vet this guy, because I've heard all these amazing things. It can't be true. He knows I'm a very skeptical person, so he was calling on me to ferret that out." And I came, and I've got to say, I was very impressed with his passion, but I was most impressed with the magnitude of this incredible vision that he had. And following that first observing session, which I guess I did a little more than observe, I got a phone call from, I think it was Andy Gale called me, the chairman of the then APF USA Foundation, and I was asked to come on board, not only as a board member, but as the executive director. I was intrigued, but it quite frankly scared me to death. I mean, I have been a successful business person. Not to get into the details, I sold my businesses and retired at the age of 50, but I had no experience whatsoever in the nonprofit world. I had no relationships with anybody in the nonprofit world. And I knew that if I had anything to offer, because I really know not much about development, it's not my background. If I had anything to offer, it would be in figuring out how to get some money, which it seemed to me in the conversations I was in was pretty aligned with what at least one of the major needs moving forward would be. But again, I had little to no experience. And I remember after being asked that, just agonizing for days. You remember, Andy, because we talked about it, agonizing for days over the idea. But the truth be told, I was hungry. I was 10 years retired. I had done this human rights campaign. I had done a couple of other things, but I was hungry for a purpose project. And I was rooting around beyond my involvement, which is, we have no clergy in the Baha'i faith. So every Baha'i is admonished to serve and to teach in various ways. We were pioneers to Ciskei, one of the homeland countries in South Africa, before it was reincorporated just before that period of time, and spent full time as, I guess you would call it, missionary work, except we don't get paid to do that. I had a business going and I put it in the hands of someone else. And, you know, I've always been focused in that regard, but I've been a very active business person, and here I was 10 years later. So I was really looking for that opportunity, and but I agonized over it. And so what came to me finally was, I thought to myself, you know, if God wants me to do this, we do this, we test God, right? We really shouldn't do this, but sometimes we do. I said, okay, God, if you want me to do this, then give me a sign. And I determined what the sign would be. The sign would be that I would go out and attempt to share the vision and raise some money. And if I could raise enough money to bring on board an office manager, because I hate details of the day-to-day grind of that, and I didn't want to be a one-person show. I couldn't be. I could never have done that. If I could do that, and if we could also have enough money to bring on board a graphic designer, because the website was in dire need of being changed, and I had thoughts about it, but I wouldn't know how to do code or anything like that if my life depended on it. So I could do that and also have enough capital to keep this thing going for a year, cover expenses of a place of operation, which we were I mean, things came to us. We were invited to graciously share the Fakase office. If I could do that relatively quickly, then I would take that as my sign that I would join the board and spend a year as executive director, with one of my primary missions being to onboard a better executive director. They were asking me to do it. There wasn't really another prospect. There wasn't any money for it. I would do it pro bono and try to figure out if we could raise enough money, which we didn't do, for somebody who would be far better. God sent us somebody for free, but I'll talk about that in just a minute. So before I started the outreach, during that sort of creative several-day period of sleeplessness, and I've got a sleep disorder, I'm sure that's true. I had been struggling with the terminology, and I hope no one is offended when I say this, especially Father Joseph. I was struggling with the terminology Association of the Peasants of Fanwa. Now, it's great here, and it's where everything originated. And now I believe that one of our missions is to turn Fanwa, and talk about this later, into that shining example on the hill, love that phrase, that shining example on the hill where courageous Haitians, without any help, set out to start the process. And the iconic notion of that for me is the 15 years it took them to build the road. They had no access. Wow. Okay. And so part of the vision moving forward has to be the enhancement of Fanwa facilities and operations. There's no doubt about it, because more and more people are going to be coming here to see it, to witness it. Just as Jeff Kaufman said to me, I don't know if I put my energy into making a film about this guy till you come and vet him, because, you know, it's too good to be true. I mean, this guy can't be doing all this stuff. And, you know, that will be people's initial reaction. There's a lot of stuff out there that isn't working. There are a lot of lies that have been told. So for me, I was struggling with the idea on the U.S. side, how do we recount this massive national vision? And it's tied to a community, Fondua, which is a wonderful place. Please don't mistake anything I'm saying, but you can't even find it on weather.com. I mean, so for me, it would be very difficult to, for that to be part of the focus of what we were communicating. And a phrase came to me, I think it was in a dream. I don't know if I was waking or dreaming or where I was, but the phrase was raising Haiti. And it seemed to me simple, concise, and really at the essence and the core of what Father Joseph had been doing for 35 years, something that people on our side could wrap perhaps their head around. And here's one thing that I know, and I'll share this, and I think this applies to any venture, whether for-profit or not-for-profit. Success in getting folks, lots of folks, to follow you lies in the story. It's all about the story. And you better have one unique, compelling, intensely focused, and in the final analysis, if you want to succeed long-term, a true story, a story that's true, that comes about. Without that last component, that integrity that goes with that last component, you may succeed for a while, but you're going to burn your bridges, destroy relationships, and find your reputation sullied beyond repair. There are lots of examples to meditate on. The one that came to me this morning, think Bernie Madoff. Think Bernie Madoff. He made billions of dollars on a great story, stealing from his clients, only to lose it all in the end, spend the rest of his earthly life, literally, in prison, and destroyed families and wealth that had been built by those families over decades or generations in the process. So, armed with the story of Father Joseph's grand vision, a new identity in the designation of raising Haiti, and a single specific, very focused ask. Now, this is a key for me, in the form of $10,000 or $25,000 donations for positions as either associate founding members for 10 grand or founding members of the Raising Haiti Foundation. I set out to see whether I could receive the sign from God that I was looking for. He tricked me good, and I'll tell you why. Would God show me the sign I was looking for? Well, as impatient as this is for you, as impatient as I am, I never imagined that he would show it to me with such speed and intensity. I prioritized my prospective donors into high, medium, and mild potential. And as I recall it, virtually everyone on my high priority list agreed. And in less than 2 weeks, I'd raised nearly $200,000. Now, I don't feel like I did that, by the way. This was, remember, I was testing God. I was flying high and feeling completely confirmed and, clucking a little bit here and there. And more than that, I was just naive enough to believe, deluded by this quick, successful attempt at fundraising, that I'd be able to help Raising Haiti garner several $1 million quickly. Thank God, and I have to say this, I am just honored to be part of a board of amazing people who have far more experience than I'll ever garner by the time I hit the grave, who were so loving and supportive, some of them knowing this guy's off his rocker. That's not happening, okay? It happens a different way. But they were loving, and that was really important. I had not considered at all the challenges that might present themselves after tapping, after all, my closest relationships, some of which felt like if they didn't do it, they might lose some business from me or what have you, and reaching out to a progressively ever colder market of prospects. But I learned, I'm a pretty quick study, and I learned those, I learned that was just very, very, but it wasn't until after I said, okay, God, you showed me, so I'll take the position. And then the next number of months, I have to tell you, was a mental, am I going too fast? I'm taking too long.
Yeah.
I'm almost, I mean, it's just important. I really,
Go ahead.
okay.
5 more minutes.
Okay. The next number of months was a mental roller coaster with the lows characterized by confusion and feeling overwhelmed. I had Father Joseph's vision clear in my pea brain, but the constant nagging need for funds, for salaries, he didn't tell me all this stuff when we started, right? All of a sudden there was a need for all of these salaries that hadn't been paid for a long time, for debts, for an array of capital needs, for all of these projects that felt very local to me. These were things that had to happen in Fondwa, understandably, but how did I mesh that with the notion of this grand national vision? And so it was a really tough time, and there was more than one time that I almost walked away. And you know, the only thing that kept me going is every time I wanted to walk away, something amazing, some sign would come that would make it difficult for me to say, hey, I'm not, you know, and I didn't understand. And in a state of utter confusion, I said, I'm going to follow the breadcrumb. I'm going to follow the signs. Now, Father Joseph visited me along the way in our summer place in North Carolina. It was a delight to have him there for a few days. And several things happened, but one of the things I remembered that stuck with me for weeks and weeks and weeks was this incredible Haitian parable or analogy, whatever you want to call it, about a stool. And the idea is that a stool needs 3 legs to stand. A stool, there's some stools here that look like they're 2 legs, but they're really not. They're wrapped around, so they're probably 4, but you need 3 legs. And he described this vision. Now, and I struggled and struggled how to get there, quite frankly. And then my wife and I were talking. We said, you know, the way to get there is for, Father Joseph may not love this, but for us to start to do some things that will be expressive of the aggregate vision, okay, which we'll talk about in just a second. But the first thing that we talked about doing was to empower 15 deserving high school graduates from 5 different communities that Father Joseph would guide, and to agree for the first year to fund their scholarships. And Father Joseph agreed, and we were halfway down the road, and then he informed he informed the Raising Haiti Foundation that we can't just do that. We need some more money to onboard the local development committees and to pay for some training. And of course, we resisted that. We said we're going too fast. But I have to. It was an agonizing period. But Father Joseph was right. He's not always right, by the way, but he was right in that regard. And we did it. And we had a scenario where we had amazing. And I came early on, and I was just blown away by the quality of the APF staff, the board, the team, how much they had learned, how much experience you all have, and followed along like a puppy to a couple of the communities and met some of the LDC members and saw the process of their selecting the students themselves. And this was just incredible to me. And I thought, this is, what do I know? I don't know how to do any of this stuff, but it's actually happening and it's wonderful. And so the students were onboarded and they started the process. And so now we had 2 of the 3 legs. So let me say this first, and I'm almost done, that communication is key. And the reason that I felt that it would be good for all of the groups to come together would be to find a common thread. We don't need an organization on top of organizations. What we need is a vision that can be articulated clearly by everyone. And I believe, and it's not because it came to me, it doesn't matter. We'll find a better phrase, I'm fine with that. But I believe that the 3 legs concept is something that everyone can easily understand. And if you want to go viral with something, which is what we intend to do, you better have something that's not confusing people, or you ain't going viral. You may not go viral anyway, but you ain't going viral if you don't have that foundation. And because it's rooted first in the Haitian lore about a stool, and because it's just very descriptive. And so what is three legs? Let me just say this for a moment. It's not the LDCs. I want you to hear me now. It's not the LDCs. It's not the university. It's not the organization of the communities. It's not economic empowerment. Here's what it is. It's just what it says. Three legs is nothing less than the very essence of Father Joseph's 30-year-plus vision, which is this. Number one, these are three things. Haitian empowerment through evolving grassroots organization. Number two, Haitian empowerment through human resource development affected by higher education. Leg number three, Haitian empowerment. It's all about Haitian empowerment through the creation of business and economic opportunity. But while we want to be able to, this is what we should all be talking about. This is the vision. And it's not even about the pilot project, by the way. Okay? Those students, 80% of which at UFONDWA, they're already part of three legs. It's his vision. It's not, okay? The pilot project was simply the step that tried to put all three together. And by the way, we're on the way to the university following this. Thank you, Andrew, for setting up such a great opportunity there to meet with all of the students and to let them know that we've already raised $75,000 committed, and we're working on another tranche of dollars to actually fund the third leg, because they're ready now. They're in their third year of university. And I was so excited to learn that after we just floated this to them, the university professors on their own, we didn't ask them to do anything. They developed 2 modules to train the students how to write business plans. And the students are excited, they're working on it. And that to me is like, I mean, if that's not a sign from God that people are being empowered, then, I don't know what would be. And so this process is unfolding, and we're going to see, there are challenges along the way and issues to deal with, but we're going to see where this whole process goes. It's very important. We could change the name, but it's certainly not going to be LDC. I'm sorry. I can't make that work in the States. They're going to say, what does that mean? Okay, this three legs with the beautiful analogy, the Haitian analogy, and what's already happening is just, something we can all revolve around and we can fulfill in different ways. Maybe your involvement is training the local communities. Maybe you're a professor at the university. Maybe you are a business guy like this gentleman in the back of the room who Lee tells me I have to meet soon, which I can't wait to do. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Whether you're a student at the university, one of those 6 pilot project communities, or you're, getting your degree with the intent to return to your community, doesn't matter, okay? We need to all be, from my perspective, on the same page. And let me just say as well, I totally understand, I'm going to close with this, I totally understand Father Joseph's frustration, understandably, that all of the things, APF is the originator of really everything. And all of the things APF has done have been miraculous. I get emotional, really sorry, just thinking about it. Okay? What you guys have done is amazing. And you've done it, I love your analogy, like an old grandmother who's poured her whole life out into her children and her grandchildren, and she has nothing left. She's just a sigh, just a breath. And it's time to hold up that grandmother. And that is the #1 priority of the 3 legs vision right now. That is the #1 priority. So let me just tell you, we decided yesterday in our board meeting, best board meeting, guys, I think we've ever had. Agreed? Awesome. Okay. That we're not, that the Raising Haiti Foundation, the U.S. Foundation, we're not going to take, we have bills to pay too. We're not going to take, we don't have a lot of money coming in yet. We're not going to take anything in administration fees, but we're going to assign 10% of, and the goal for this project, I think we'll have it in a few weeks, $150,000. 10% ain't much in terms of the needs of this organization, but we're going to assign that 10% to APF right off the top. You didn't know that, but I'm letting you know that. I know that's already spent because that isn't much, right? But in addition to that, we're starting a new program, and I want everybody here to engage in this program. There was a way you can do it, whether you have some money or you don't have money. I'm going to tell you about it right now. But before I do, this program is going to be a forever cash flow generating, ongoing income stream that's going to grow. Okay. And we decided yesterday as well that the first $50,000 raised in the campaign is also going to go to APF expressly to pay the salaries back. I mean, really, I'm not done yet. You have to give me a couple more minutes.
Makes life lighter.
Well, I thought you were clapping to get me off the stage. Is that okay? Okay, 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. So I know I've taken too much of everybody's time, but the first $50,000 is going to go to pay back salaries to you blessed souls who have worked for nothing, because there is no money right now. That's just the reality of where we've been. And that's going to be the present thought in my mind that's going to drive me to distraction, impatiently to get there, because you need to be paid. It ain't right. It ain't fair. It sucks. Okay. Now, excuse the phrase, if that's okay. But beyond that $50,000, there will be a large percentage, to be still determined, of all the funds that are raised ongoing forever that will be there. Are you hearing me? Because this is, I know you need to hear this because you weren't there yesterday, are going to be there for APF's needs going forward. We'll be using the funds for other purposes, but it will all be about the 3 legs process. So let me just, we have we really need to focus, okay? We need to focus. We need to, it's one of the, if I could give Father Joseph one piece of, I don't want to say advice because I mean, one piece of guidance that I try to give myself, because he and I are, I think, very much alike. It's one of the reasons I relate so much to him. One of the Achilles heel of the visionary tends to be, he doesn't understand, he's not a detail guy. He doesn't understand the complexities of his own vision and how many hours and how much energy is driven into everyone else. I've heard a couple people mention something along that line, the expectations, the needs, and so forth. And you talked about discipline. You and I need to discipline ourselves too. We need to discipline ourselves to the focus. Everything we think about doing, we should ask, is this directly helping the 3 legs vision? Or is it would be great to have some money, good to do this, but doesn't really get us in that direction directly? Maybe it does tangentially. We need to triage. You know what that word means? You know, you're a doctor. They do this in a surgery. You have to triage. You have to get it down to the nitty gritty, and we have to discipline ourselves because the visionary is constantly visioning, and you can't out-vision your capacity, because if you do, it's a recipe for disaster. And it's my biggest, it's what's kept me up at night, and it's been what has made me feel overwhelmed and want to walk away, quite frankly. I don't think I'm the first guy that felt that way. So we need to do that. You have an amazing series of foundations that can help you do that, and you'll listen to them because we have a collaborative situation. I know this from myself. My wife almost left me because she was just exhausted. I dragged her to Africa and halfway around the planet and everything else. Now, the triaged focus for fundraising. And by the way, I'm going back. I felt guilty because of the first night, and I have kidney stones and all these things, and I went and stayed at, where did I stay? At the Montana. Man, that's phenomenal. And this was one of my, like, I was depressed, and then this happened, and I knew this was another sign. I had a conversation with Miriam. You set it up. She knows you, which leads to the thing that she's the most wonderful hotel manager I've ever met in my life. She was so cordial. You would explain some of my health issues. She said, "Don't worry, I have 5 rooms for you to pick from. You don't have to give me any money now. You don't have to commit. Just if you come, she was." And I saw her this morning as we were leaving, and and I told her a little bit about what I'm going to tell you, and I promise I'm going to finish with it. And she said, "You know, I want you to come back and meet the owners of this hotel, who are Haitian." Now, let me tell you something about that. Anybody that comes to this country, I've been everywhere, but anybody that comes to this country who has some resources, okay, financial resources, and cares enough about Haiti to come here, and isn't crazy, they'll stay at that place. And I could tell the folks that were there, of course, it's an expensive place and what have you, but so I'm going to meet the owners to ask them to become, to get involved in this. And here's what it is. We're talking about friends and advocates of 3 Legs. So what is a friend? We're asking everyone to, and this is something we have reinventing the wheel every month. We have to start doing this. We're asking everybody to become a friend, signing up on the website, which you can do now, but it's a little confusing. I can help you do it. We're revamping that for a monthly commitment taken from your credit card of $30 a month. Now, if you can't do $30, do 10 or do $1. I don't care. But do something, because no one will follow you if you don't do the thing you're asking them to do. That is a law. No, I mean, people will say, "Oh," but they're going to want to know if you did. If you didn't do it, it's not good enough for you. Why would I do it? It's going to be hard enough getting them to do it. Not really, because this story is so amazing. But sign up, become a friend. $30 is the default. That's what we're hoping for. But you might give $300, or you might give $3, or you might give $100,000 a month if you can afford it. Maybe that'll happen. It'd be great if that happens. We'll get there much faster. But becoming an advocate is even more. We want you to do that, and then we want you to make a list of people you can ask. Remember, I told you the people in my close orbit, they gave me $200 grand, and it was like, woo, I'm so great. I wasn't great. He was like, he said, "You want a sign? I'm gonna give you a sign, and then I'm gonna put you in the deal. I'm gonna really test you." That's really what he said to me. Okay, and that's okay. I'm still here. I don't know how long I'll be here, but I'm still here. And so I'd like to ask everyone to do that. If you don't have any money, that would be the only excuse to not do the first part, but you can still be an advocate. I'm hoping that these owners of the hotel, just to give you as soon as this decision was made, I went to have a pulmonary function test that I wasn't even going to have because I was really feeling like I don't want to deal with this here. And there's a woman who gave me the test. I'm just telling you, the woman who gave me the test, she had a deep New York accent, but I had the impression